I believe there's no such thing as maturity. It's all social programming. Society conditions us to behave and speak in a certain way, indoctrinating us with the idea that adults should be this way. You need to be someone that hits all the conventional milestones in life. And it gaslights you into believing if you're not doing this in your 20s or 30s, you're a loser. So we feel compelled to fit into that mold and meet societal expectations, right? People call it maturity, but I don't think so. It's just castration. Yes, we mature in a way that we lose interest in toys, anime, and Marvel movies, right? But it's just interest that's supposed to shift as we grow older, you know? But what I'm talking about, rather, is your inner child, your sense of adventure. They'll never go away. We've just pushed them into a far corner of our mind as we grow older, right? And that's such a tragedy because that's what makes you you. That's a personal brand and true identity. We should nurture it rather than suppress it. I really like eccentric, quirky, weird people out there. People who stay true to themselves. People who don't give a shit about judgment and stay who they are. They're really beautiful. But in this society, if you stand out, if you step out of a crowd, even in the slightest way, they will judge you and call you out for being immature, you know? Yes, if your behavior is like disruptive or intrusive, yes, it is kind of immature and bad, but being different, being unique doesn't make you immature, does it, right? Like, they have no right to call you out for being who you are, you know? Like, it rubs me the wrong way. And people like labeling and stereotyping. People have this sheep mentality where they take everything at face value. They don't consider the circumstances, right? So they label you and expect you to be that thing, Like ADHD, for example, when they see a kid that is slightly impulsive or impatient or disruptive, they, call him as ADHD, even though he's not clinically diagnosed with ADHD, right? And he's labeled and stigmatized forever. But that's wrong because if you ask me, like it's asking too much for kids to sit still and pay attention in class for an hour straight because they're supposed to be outside running around on that playground, right? They're basically animals, right? So they have no capacity to sit still in class without getting, squirmy. You're asking too much, right? Besides, ADHD can be a good thing depending on the context, you know? Like when kids with ADHD find something they can be passionate about, they can be obsessed with it. They can do that thing for hours, Like, in fact, many artists have ADHD and it's like a superpower, like hyper focus, It's a gift. So, in the wrong environment, ADHD is a flaw, but in the right environment, ADHD can be a niche. So, don't take judgment as advice, all right? Because if you fix your flaws, you lose your edges as well, and you'll be a clean cut, edgeless, boring person. And that's the worst thing that could happen to you. Okay? So stay quirky, stay weird, stay different. That's what makes you attractive and, appealing and magnetic. So the whole concept of maturity is made up. It doesn't exist. Maturity means in the society faking yourself, bearing your inner child, and killing your individuality to conform to society. That's it. It's just pretended. Maturity doesn't exist. So don't let society mold you into that generic, socially presentable, boring person. Okay? Don't lose yourself to the system. So, yes, you're beautiful and attractive as who you are.